Huh. Hmm. Madam Web asks the question, what if Final Destination, Home Alone, and Twilight were all into one just giant ball of spaghetti, and you just punch the spaghetti just over and over and over and over again, threw it out a window and watch it fall, and then you turned off gravity and you waited for it to fall for 40 years, and then after that the mask opens and the simulation is done, and then you wake up and you realize that everything that you have ever known and done has been a dream, not real, a fabrication. What was it all for? What is the purpose? And that is the theme of Madam Web, I think. I do not know. I do not know. Another thing that this movie could be is what? The whole point of the movie, it centers around Madam Web, Cassie, played by Dakota Johnson. She plays Madam Web, who is a paramedic with the power to rewind time. Ooh, crazy. The film opens up and it's her mom and this guy, and they're in the jungle and they're looking for this one spider, and then she's also pregnant, and then she's like, oh man, I gotta have this baby, but I also gotta find this spider, and they find the spider, and then the guy's like, yo, you gotta give me that spider. I've always wanted it. I've always wanted that spider's power. And she's like, what? And then he shoots her, and then she's like, oh no, I've been shot. And then he leaves with the spider. But then get this, weird forest spider people show out of nowhere, and then they go, we will save you. And then they put her in a little pond. She gets bitten by another spider that they have, and then she has a baby, a really real looking baby in this movie, totally not made out of wax or silicone or spearmint gum, and she dies. And somehow this baby ends up in New York City and becomes a paramedic, played by Dakota Johnson. Hooray! And Dakota Johnson as Madam Web is a very dull watching experience. She has only one tone, and it's just that's it. She only has one tone throughout the entire movie. Anytime she cracks a joke, anytime she tries to act condescending, anytime she tries to act serious, it's always the exact same tone throughout the entire movie. Her character is a terrible person. Our first interaction with her is her driving an ambulance. She's a paramedic, and it's her and her friend Ben, and they're cracking jokes back and forth together, just wisecracking, having a gay old time in this ambulance. And there's a person in the ambulance that they're trying to like resuscitate to keep alive. And they're like, oh man, I can't believe that you're not getting girls. And he's like, 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on, breathe with me, come on. Anytime there is a dialogue scene in this movie, it is just so boring. It is so boring and padded out. They play out the entire scene practically every single time to spell it into your head that, hey, something weird and hinky's going on, something crazy. And this is no joke up until like the first hour and 20 minutes, first hour and 20 minutes into the movie. The movie is an hour and 40 minutes long. That is how much time they just spend in the discovery phase of what is this? What's so weird? This is so weird. Imagine the Doctor Strange Dormammu scene. If every time Doctor Strange died in that scene, it played the entire movie up until that Dormammu part, and then he dies again. And then you play the entire movie, and then he dies again. Barely any character development with Miss Madam Web. This movie takes so long to introduce all of its characters, and it's not even like the story is convoluted. The whole plot is Dakota Johnson gets superpowers. The guy who got the spider in Spiderland has a dream that these spider people are gonna come kill him, so he wants to go kill them before they kill him. And Dakota Johnson sees the future where the evil spider guy comes in and kills the people, so she wants to save the spider people. And that's it. She wants to save the spider people, the eventual spider people. And the villain of this movie, I have no idea what he does. His whole thing is he had a bad dream, and then he wants to kill these people. Like, what does he do with these spider powers? He has a Spider-Man suit. He's dressed up as Spider-Man. What is his job? What is his occupation? He's just rich and he knows people. There's a scene where he gets women and he shows her the spider. But that's it. So maybe he wanted it for some of that poom poom boy. For a movie called Madam Web, man, oh man, is that just her name in this movie. If you came here for Spider-Man hijinks and web slinging, you gotta check out a different movie, man, because this will not be your movie. Don't know what she wants in life. It's kind of forced at the very end. Her power is very, very boring. The reason why is because it lacks stakes. Once she already knows what's gonna happen, she already knows how to fix it, right? So anytime anything bad happens, you know that it's immediately going to get fixed. There's barely any sense of urgency or danger when you know that she saw what was going to happen and then she immediately knows what to do. There was only one case of her power that I thought was really, really interesting, which there's a scene where one of her paramedic friends get hit by a car and she wants to go stop him before he goes out. And she goes and confronts him and he's just like, you're crazy. And he drives away and walks back. And in the background, you see the collision. Boom. And it's played out in one long shot, and I thought that was pretty cool. You know, there was an intercut where he slammed the door and she saw the impact, and then she walked away, and then the car crash happens. I thought that was a really, really, really good use of the power for just that one scene. The worst scene in this movie takes place on a train, and this is where we have the worst use of her power. Where, like I said before, the evil guy has a dream where these three people become spider people later in life and they kill him. So he wants to kill them before they can get to him. So what he does is he goes on a train to kill them. And Madam Web, she's sitting on the train. She sees one by one the girls go in and then something horrible happens. But we play it every single time. She sits, one of the girls walks in, they play the horrible thing. She's like, whoa. That was terrible. And then like 2 minutes pass, and then another girl walks in, and a horrible thing happens. Oh, whoa, and so on and so on and so on. It pads it out so goddamn much, and it is so unnecessary. And then after that, she takes the girls and steals a taxi. This whole section was kind of strange because she steals a taxi, takes these girls, goes into the woods, and says, "Stay here." Explains that she can see into the future. The girls are like, okay. And then she goes back to learn more information about spiders because her mom had like a spider book that she gave her. And she reads about spiders and she's like, that's crazy. Maybe he's a spider person. Whoa. And then she goes back. So she's driving this stolen taxi and she finds a random crowbar on the ground, rips off the license plate, and parks her stolen taxi outside of her apartment. I'm gonna let that sink in real quick. Not you, but God damn. God dang. I'm telling you, she's not a good person in this movie. She's boring and she does crime. She literally steals a taxi. And also later in the movie, she gets somebody killed in this movie. During the climax, she calls for like a helicopter to come in, and it's during the big fight with her and the evil Spider-Man guy, and a bomb goes off or an explosion goes off and some shrapnel happens, and he deflects it and it hits the helicopter that was coming to save them. And the guy that's inside the helicopter, dead and never spoken about. Also, there's a lot of product placement in this movie, specifically Pepsi. So much Pepsi. There's a scene in the movie where they go to a baby shower and somebody hands Dakota Johnson a Pepsi. And man, oh man, does she take forever to open up this Pepsi. Spoilers, she doesn't even open up the Pepsi, but she just sits there and just like plays with the Pepsi for like 5 minutes. The big bad of the film gets crushed by the big letter P in a Pepsi sign, which is a metaphor for this is a terrible movie. There's an instance where she wants to go learn more information about her spider powers. So she takes these girls, and this is all on the same day, by the way. This is the same day. She takes these girls, she brings them to Ben's house, or her friend. They stay there for the day. She goes to Peru. When she goes to Peru, there's a montage of spider people, and then a guy dressed as Fred from Scooby-Doo shows up and then gives her all of the answers. That is not a lie. I did not lie. And then she comes back with new information in the same day. I don't know about you, but I did not know that Madam Web had instant transmission like that. And all the characters just feel so disconnected from each other. Everyone has forced dialogue. I don't blame the actors at all for this movie. It's the writing, man. The writing is so bad. It's so bad and so forced. It's like they took all the core components of like, this is what a movie is, kind of, and then they tried to explain that to a monkey, and then the monkey tried to explain that back to them, and then they wrote the movie. Also, at the climax of the film, she gets a bunch of new spider powers. Her whole thing is that she can connect to the web of timelines, and she could be anywhere all at once. And she gets blinded in the final attack of this movie. And now she's blind. She's Professor X. She's Spider-Woman Professor X. And she leads a ragtag group of misfit potential spider people that they did not have enough money in the budget to get all of their costumes, I guess. So they're waiting for the sequel that will happen. Here's some of my favorite lines in the movie. We got, "I've been looking for that spider for years. Death in childbirth is like super rare. They're teenagers now, but in the future, they will have powers and they will destroy me." Yeah, this movie is written like a high school play. Don't do anything dumb. Seriously, don't do dumb things. Your futures were almost so different. You're lucky I saw them. Did you say web? That's impossible. I had some hope for it, but you know, just like the final line of the movie, the best thing about the future is that it hasn't happened yet. And I hope in the future that this does not happen again. There we go. And I don't know, man. I'm just sad. I need to make up for what I did. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I got it. I'm sorry, Spider-Man. I'm so sorry.